Hi, everyone. Lesia Soul Excavator here, and I'm so glad that you're here again. Thank you so much. So this is video number 2 in a series of 3 where I'm talking to you a little bit about happiness and the idea that we can stop chasing certain things, certain experiences, someone, something outside of ourselves, and we can turn inward to live the happiness that we truly are. So in video number 1, I told you a little bit about myself, how everything that I do, every single thing that I think, say, do, all of it is founded in this purpose, this life's purpose that I feel is mine, the call on my heart, which is to empower the conscious awakening of humanity so that together we can cultivate a global community founded in love. And one of the ways that I'm doing that right now is through this soul excavation work. And soul excavation for me is that dynamic, mindful exploration of digging into and unearthing what is keeping us staying stuck in the muck rather than living that vibrant, powerful awesomeness that we truly are, that happiness that we truly are. So I told you a little bit about my transformation, what it was like when I had my bakery, how things didn't work out financially, how incredibly stressful it was for me, for my family, how what was once a dream became a nightmare, and how ultimately I was so wrapped up in identifying myself with my work, with external validation from the community, from the awards, from the accolades, from the media attention, that when that all stopped, I didn't even know who I was anymore. And I felt so lost, so empty, so confused. And because of that, instead of sort of feeling that and digging into that, I just jumped right back into work again because I felt so guilty about what I had put my husband through, what I had put my family through, and how essentially I wasn't present in every aspect of my life except for being at the bakery. Ultimately, a shift happened once I started on the integrated nutrition health coaching path, which eventually led me to my spiritual path, the path that I now fully and completely embrace and embody and endeavor to, show up in the best way possible as a soul excavator, as a licensed spiritual practitioner, and as a future minister. So for all of that, I am so grateful. And so the things that I shared with you were sort of these two things that blew my mind wide open, these two concepts of this philosophy that I am studying. This idea that actually is kind of a golden thread through many, many different philosophies and faiths. One of them being, the main one being, that there is only one thing going on. Call it energy, call it source, call it spirit, call it love, call it what you will. But this one thing that is infinite in scope, that is creative by nature, this is the very essence, the very foundation of everyone and everything. It is what interconnects everyone and everything. And when you identify as that, not just realize it, but when you identify as that, then you kind of go back to your childhood and remember the idea of, you're not the boss of me, I'm the boss of me. And so when we start to live from that notion, concept, truth, that is incredibly empowering. It is incredibly liberating because then we realize that we are the ones who are in charge of creating our life experience, not something or someone, some circumstance or some feeling outside of ourselves, but that which we truly are. The second thing that really blew my mind open, which was so fantastic, was this idea, this truth, this principle, which is actually a quote by Judge Thomas Troward, someone that Wayne Dyer often quoted, which is, principle is not bound by precedent. And that means that there is absolutely nothing that has ever happened in your past that has any bearing on who and what you are in the present moment, right here, right now. So principle, who I am, who you are, that is the same no matter what. Precedent, the thing that happened, the thing that happened once, but we still can, often drag into the present moment with us, that has no bearing on who we are. So to know that I am infinitely powerful, to know that I am infinitely creative, that for me is amazing. That for me is so powerful, so liberating, is so life affirming, because it confirms that I, that you, that everyone and everything is in charge of what their life experience can be like. And the way that we create that life experience, the way that we shift from what has been going on to what we would like to go on, is the way that we use our minds. It's the conscious, aware, intentional, purposeful use of our minds. So that's part of what I talked about in video number 1. At the end of it, though, I know that there was a question that came up of, okay, that's fine. So I'm starting to consciously use my mind. I'm starting to, be aware of and identify as that infinite expansive universe that is always in play, of that infinite creative energy that is always in play. But just thinking it doesn't necessarily make it happen. I mean, if I'm thinking I want $100,000 in my account right now, it doesn't mean that there's $100,000 in there. Well, that comes to what is behind your thinking. Is there some belief behind the thought that you're having that is not supporting the idea that is coming through in that thought? Because if there is a belief that says, I don't have enough money, there isn't enough money to go around, you have to work hard for your money, money comes to other people, not me, all of those beliefs, which you may or may not even be aware of, they definitely qualify what the thought shows up as in your life experience. So today, that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk a little bit about limiting beliefs and why it's so important that we become aware of what limiting beliefs are in play in our lives, so that we can ultimately choose to move away from holding on to those limiting beliefs and shift our focus and attention on beliefs that are more life affirming and supportive of the life experience that we want to create for ourselves. So what I'd like to do right now is I'd like to tell you a story. Okay, I'm going to take a sip of water first though. Thank you. All right, so get comfortable, close your eyes if you like, you don't need to, but let's say you have a job interview, okay? Feeling a little anxious, a little nervous, but it's a job interview, you've had them before, and you know what, you really aren't even sure if you want this job. In fact, you're thinking you probably won't get this job because someone else there is going to have more experience than you, going to have a higher education than you. And you know what? The people who are interviewing, they've probably already decided who they're going to give it to. So what's the point of even going? But you know what? You don't have anything else to do today. And, it'd kind of be okay to get the job. So you're going to go. So you put on this beautiful, amazing, crisp white suit. You do your makeup, you get your jewelry, you get everything that you need to have together. You know that you want to make a good impression. And so you put yourself together, you grab what you need, and you head out the door. You make your way to the subway. You get down to the platform. It is packed. Just wall to wall people like sardines. It's a little irritating because the air conditioning isn't working. It's hot, it's sticky, it's humid. You're starting to feel your suit sticking to yourself. You're starting to feel uncomfortable and you just want to get where you're going. So you just decide to put your earbuds in, turn on your phone and bury your head in your phone. You start looking at your texts, your emails, you start looking at Facebook and Instagram, start looking to see how many likes and shares and hearts you've gotten. You get on the train, and the train also totally packed. No air conditioning on the train either. Hot, sticky, humid. There are all these people around you. You just want to find a spot where you can find a spot on the railing, hold on, so that you can just be in your own little world and not have to relate to anyone or anything around you. The train starts to move. You've got your earbuds in, you're looking at your phone. Oh my God, so-and-so liked, got this many likes on this page. Oh my gosh, look at all of this activity on this post that you put. And as the train is moving, you're just totally immersed in what's going on your phone without knowing anything that's going on around you. All of a sudden, a few minutes into the ride, the train screeches to a halt. Everybody moves every which way. And all of a sudden, you feel this hot liquid pour onto you. Realize that the person standing next to you was holding a cup of coffee, and that cup of coffee is now all over your white suit. Oh my God. I cannot believe how rude and how inconsiderate that person is. How could they be so inconsiderate? How could they walk around with a cup of coffee that's open without a lid on it? This suit is ruined. Okay. All you can do is move away from this person who is apologizing profusely because it was an accident, but you don't want to hear it and you don't want to say anything that you're going to regret later. So you just move to another area in the car, hold on to that bit of railing, and just immerse yourself back in your phone again. So you continue on with this ride, a few stops go by, and eventually you get to your stop, and you're so grateful and so relieved to be able to get off the train car, walk up the steps, up from the platform, up onto the street, into the fresh air. The noise, the traffic, okay, tons of people on the sidewalk, doesn't matter. I know exactly where I'm going. I've been there before. I don't even have to think about how to get there. So you put in your earbuds again, you're looking at your phone, and you're just walking as quickly as you can to get to where you're going, because you realize as you're looking at your phone, oh my gosh, I'm running a few minutes behind. As you're walking, as you're looking at your phone, not paying attention to what's going on around you, all of a sudden, you step in a great big puddle. And now, not only do you have coffee on your white suit, but your pant leg is totally drenched, it's mucky, and your shoe is wet, and you still have a half a block to go. Oh, you're thinking, this day just couldn't get any worse. It's clearly going to be one of those days. But you keep walking because you got to get to your interview. You get to the building, elevators out of service. Oh my God, the hits just keep on coming. You go up the 8 flights of stairs, get into the office, arrive at the desk, announce yourself, and the receptionist looks at you and says, "Oh, I'm so sorry, but your interview is actually tomorrow." You collapse in your chair, completely defeated. Life sucks. This always happens to me. You know what? I really didn't want this job anyway, so who cares? You walk out the door and have absolutely no intention of returning tomorrow for the job interview. So here's the question. In that entire story, what did you focus on? Was it that you woke up in the morning, you knew you had this job interview, you were feeling kind of anxious, didn't really want the job, started thinking about how you probably weren't going to get the job because there was someone there who was more qualified, someone who had a higher education, and that, you know what, they've probably already decided who they're going to give it to, so why do I even need to bother going? Was it all of the sort of like the uncomfortable stuff that was happening, you know, the heat, the humidity, the stickiness, all the people around you that you didn't want touching you? Was it the coffee that ended up getting spilled accidentally on the suit? Was it the puddle that you ended up stepping into because you weren't paying attention to what was going on around you? Was it that this entire series of events just seemed to sort of be compounding one on top of the other, of like crappy thing over crappy thing over crappy thing, until ultimately, you know, you get to the office and find out that today isn't even the day, and decide that, oh my God, life sucks. I'm not even going to bother coming back tomorrow. Well, what I would like to offer you is that in this story, the truth of who you are is the white suit. The white suit is infinite possibility. It's infinite potentiality. It's a clean slate. Okay. And the white suit is the white suit is the white suit throughout the entire story. Yes, it got coffee spilled on it. Yes, it was hot and sticky and probably a little sweaty. Yes, it got this massive wet puddle stain on it. But underneath all of that, behind all of that, the suit remains this beautiful, polished, elegant, crisp white suit. What you choose to focus on, though, that's what you end up getting wrapped up on or wrapped up in. And so as you continue throughout the morning, and you start to focus on the spilled coffee. How could that person have been so inconsiderate? It's hot and sticky. I don't want to be around all these people. Starting off from, I don't think I'm going to get the job anyway, to, the elevator's out of service. I have to go up these flights of stairs. Oh my gosh, the interview isn't even until tomorrow. It's almost as if, you started from one idea of not being in your truth, and that entire day then stemmed from that idea. It was like something that we call in our philosophy secondary causation, where you create your life experience from the experiences that you're having rather from the truth of, and that, infinite awesomeness of who you are. So imagine what the morning could have been like if there had been a shift in focus. If that morning you woke up and you thought, I'm not really sure if I want to get this job, but you know what? I'm going to go and I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to show up as my best self. There probably are some people that are better qualified, might be some people that have a higher education, and maybe they've even already decided who they're going to give it to, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to go in there because I know I'm all that and a bag of chips. They're going to love me, and it's going to be a super awesome experience. Put on your suit, put on your jewelry, makeup, everything, get your stuff, go. Yes, the subway is packed. Yes, there are tons of people there, but that's okay. Everyone is going somewhere. Everyone has something that they need to get to, somewhere that they need to get to. So you're all in the same boat. No problem. You get on the subway car, it's packed, it's still a little challenging to find a space, but you're paying attention now and you discover, oh, there's actually a seat over there. And you go and you sit down and you're nowhere near that person who has the cup of coffee, and you're really glad because you know what? Sometimes things happen on the subway, and if that person has this cup of coffee and something happens, you're really glad that you're not around them to have that coffee spill on your suit. So having had an opportunity to just, have a bit of a subway ride, get to your stop, walk outside onto the sidewalk, you're still paying attention to what's going on around you. You're still focusing on this idea that you're going to have a really amazing, interesting experience when you go for this job interview. So you're walking along, you're feeling super confident, and oh, geez, there's a puddle. Better not step in that. You go around the puddle. You get to the building, you see that the elevator is out of service. Ugh, if it were up to you, that's not the way that you would have planned it, but that's okay. It's something that happened. It didn't happen to you. There's another way to get there. You go up the stairs, you arrive at the desk, and you find out your interview is the next day. What? And you start laughing. You find the humor in the situation. Think about all of this stuff that may have happened or could have happened that didn't happen, and realize, you know what? This provides for a really funny story. You strike up a conversation with a receptionist. She remembers you the following day. You have a story to tell when you walk into your interview the next day, making you that much more memorable, putting everyone at ease. And the idea of having an amazing experience, showing up super confident, showing up as that white suit of infinite potentiality and that clean slate and that starting afresh in this moment right here, right now, that's how you show up. And then ultimately, it doesn't even matter if you get the job, because you're not attached to that job defining who you are. You know who you are. That's how you show up, no matter what's going on around you. That's just who and what you are, and you choose to live from that. So it's a whole other way of looking at it. It's a whole other way of seeing what it is, you're choosing to focus on. Are you choosing to focus on the thoughts and limiting beliefs that keep you stuck in the muck? Or are you choosing to focus on the truth of who you are? Are you choosing to create a more expansive, life-affirming experience from that? Because you are infinitely powerful. You are infinitely creative. So why not live from that? So limiting beliefs, they do come into play. And where they come into play, especially, is when we're not aware of them. And you know what? It is so easy for us to not be aware of limiting beliefs that are in play, because when we think in terms of quantum science, where everything is now, there's no time, there's no locality. So there's no amount of time that something needs to happen. There's no place that you need to go to for something to happen. Everything is right here, right now, in this moment. The universe is always creating itself anew right now, 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 brand new universe every single time. So when we allow ourselves to just consider that all the beliefs of all time are fully present, fully formed right here, right now. I mean, that's an infinite number of beliefs, just like almost impossible for our human brains and human minds to wrap our heads around. But if all of them are here all the time, it would be pretty challenging to not, as we're marinating our thoughts and ideas through all those beliefs, to bump into some of those beliefs, and to bump into beliefs, most of which aren't even ours to begin with. They are passed down through us, through family, from our parents, our culture, generations, race consciousness, consensus that is there, that sometimes we just get so caught up and so swept up in, we don't even realize that that's what we're doing. But if we take a moment and remember that we are that infinite energy that is always in play, that infinite energy that is so creative, so expansive, and is constantly expressing through and as everyone and everything. When we remember that as that, we are always a choice to choose something different for ourselves, a different belief, a different thought, a different feeling, a different experience, that's where the power comes in. Okay, so I can already hear some of you saying, okay, Lesia, that's all fine and good, but what if there's this belief that is so strong, so firmly rooted, I don't know how to get past it? Well, good question. And there are two ways that I'd like to offer today that you can start to release, something that has been a really firmly rooted belief, so that you can then shift and start to choose and focus on and, hold on to something that is more life affirming and more expansive. The first thing is affirmations. And before some of you go, oh, affirmations, I know what affirmations are. They're just these sentences that you say over and over and over again, basically faking it until you make it. Well, yes and no. If you just have a statement that doesn't mean anything to you, it doesn't matter how many times you repeat it, it's empty. It's never going to do anything. It's actually going to be one of those things that you're chasing constantly, something outside of you that you are expecting is going to change how you feel on the inside. However, if it is something called a spiritual realization, you can even take the word spiritual away from it. When it's a realization, something that makes spiritual or principled logic, that's when they land for you. That's when you can actually feel them in your body, and they actually start to change you from the inside out. So let's see. One of the things that you were saying to yourself in that story is, someone's probably more qualified, someone has a higher education. Okay, well, as the infinite expansive universe, I am infinite in scope. There is no one, no thing, no circumstance, no degree, no amount of experience or education that can ever diminish or expand that which I already am. Something, oh, this always happens to me. It's just going to be one of those days. Well, that kind of goes on the thinking of, this happened before, so it's going to happen again. Remember that little nugget, principle is not bound by precedent? Well, perfect example. Principle is not bound by precedent. Just because something happened once before doesn't mean it's going to happen again. And no matter what happened before, it has absolutely no bearing on who and what you are. some common limiting beliefs around money, abundance, and prosperity. Okay, so let's see. A lot of people think I don't have enough money in my life. Money doesn't come easily to me. Money only comes to other people. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer. Money doesn't grow on trees. I mean, how many different things, do you have? How many limiting beliefs do you know that you know about, never mind the ones you don't know about, that you have heard enough times that even if you don't really think about them, they're pretty ingrained in how you show up in life. So how about this? If there is only one thing going on and that thing is energy, prosperity is energy. I am energy. Energy is infinite in scope. So as infinite prosperity, I never have to think about where money is coming from or how to pay for anything, because money is just everywhere. Or how about this? I am the infinite expansive universe. As such, I have all the time, money, and energy to live my best life now and always. Or how about another one? I am not my feelings, thoughts, beliefs, or experiences. I am infinitely more powerful, creative, and resilient than anything that could ever happen. And then there are those times that even when we realize what's going on, and even when we identify with what's going on, even when we choose to actively, consciously work towards living from that realization and identification, sometimes we forget. Sometimes we get caught up in the circumstances. So how about knowing that no matter what happens, no matter how often I might forget with my human mind, there is an infinite knower in me at the very essence, at the very core, at the very epicenter of who I am that always knows. There is the knower in me that always knows exactly how infinitely powerful, creative, and resilient I am, even on those special occasions when I forget. So did any of those land for you? Like, they make logical, spiritual sense. You can't tear them apart. Okay. And those are the kind of affirmations that will work. Those are the kind of affirmations that when you say them, and when you say them with feeling, they really do start to create a shift from the inside out. Now, the second thing is gratitude. And this is so easy. It is so easy because you really don't have to think about it. Even when you might feel like you are in the darkest place, you are so confused, you don't know what to do, stepping into gratitude is just, you can do it right now. All you do is, I am grateful for, fill in the blank. I am thankful for, fill in the blank. Create a practice for yourself. Many months ago, one of the things that I started doing again was having a morning and an evening gratitude practice. Having a gratitude journal where you just write down, it was suggested, write down 3 things that I'm grateful for. I usually do about 10 to 15 because I just write and write and write and write and write. Gratitude is so important for our expansion, for our personal evolution, because gratitude raises our vibration. And as we raise our vibration, it means that we then start to attract resources and experiences into our life that are vibrating at a higher frequency. Gratitude is also a prosperity magnet. So the more grateful you are for everyone and everything around you, the more you attract that infinite prosperity that you already are into your current life experience. So affirmations, but really more realizations and gratitude, 2 of the amazing ways to shift from identifying with those limiting beliefs to starting to focus and feel those more expansive, life-affirming beliefs. Which brings us to the next question. Okay, so I realized who and what I am. I'm beginning to identify as who and what I am. I am choosing to actively, consciously, intentionally, purposefully focus on the good, the positive, the expansive, the life affirming versus the limiting. But just because I'm thinking something and just because I'm doing all this stuff, it's still, I don't feel it, in my heart. I don't feel it in my body. Well, that is great because we do eventually need to move from our brains, our minds, into our bodies. And it really isn't until we feel that happiness, until we feel that shift in our bodies, until we integrate it and embody it, that we're actually going to see the results of the work that we're doing, of the shifting of perspective in our life experience. So in video number 3, I'm going to introduce you to a very special practice that allows us to move from our heads into our bodies and to really start to experience living the happiness that we truly are. And instead of living from the outside in, living from the inside out. So for today, thank you so much once again for your time and for your presence. My name is Lesia Cahoot, and I look forward to seeing you for video number 3. Bye for now.